My maid of honor tried to ruin my wedding, but karma served her well. A bachelorette trip is supposed to be a celebration, a carefree weekend surrounded by love, laughter, and the people who matter most. But for me, it became something else entirely. A front row seat to the unraveling of a so-called friendship. Ren was my maid of honor. My oldest friend. The one who was supposed to stand by my side as I stepped into the most important chapter of my life. But Ren had always been a storm in disguise. Silent at first, brewing in the distance, before suddenly crashing in with destruction. I should have seen the warning signs years ago. She lived in a constant state of self-victimization. If I had something good happen, she'd sigh and say, "Must be nice." If I was struggling, somehow, her struggles were always worse. She had no job. No responsibilities. A saint of a boyfriend who catered to her every whim. And yet, she never stopped complaining. Looking back, our entire friendship had been one long, exhausting therapy session. But I wasn't the patient. I was the emotional crutch. And then came the bachelorette trip. For the first time, the attention was on me. And Ren? She simply could not handle that. From the second we arrived, she sucked the air out of the room. The Airbnb was too cheap. The itinerary was too structured. The trip itself? Clearly planned around me and not her. She had volunteered to bring decorations but never put them up. She made goodie bags, then spent the entire trip begging for appreciation over them. And every time the conversation turned to me, the bride, Ren found a way to steal it back. A dramatic sigh when my other friends reminisced about our favorite memories. A passive-aggressive, "Wow, must be nice to have friends who actually stick around." That first night, while the rest of us danced under the city skyline, Ren sat in the corner, arms crossed, sulking like a child. Then, suddenly, she had a migraine. She insisted we leave early. The next morning, miraculously recovered. Just in time for brunch. And, of course, she made sure to remind everyone how much she had spent on this trip. How unappreciated she felt. It became obvious. Every time I had a moment of happiness, Ren found a way to ruin it. On our final night, my friends had planned a beautiful surprise for me. Matching silk robes. A champagne toast. Heartfelt words about my journey to my wedding day. But before I could even process the love surrounding me, Ren stood up. And hijacked the moment. With a deep breath and a fake teary voice, she launched into an emotional speech. About herself. She spoke about her struggles. Her loneliness. How so many people had abandoned her. And then, she turned to me. "I just hope you don't leave me too." Silence. No one knew how to respond. My beautiful moment. Ruined. But something inside me snapped. The veil had been lifted. I wasn't looking at a friend. I was looking at a black hole of need. She had spent years feeding off of me. And now, when faced with the reality that I was moving forward with my life, without her, she was grasping for control. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. My silence, my disgust, my refusal to feed into her pity act, spoke louder than any words. By morning, she had exactly what she wanted. Attention. She made a dramatic exit, mumbling about how she felt unwelcome. Hours later, my phone buzzed. A long, bitter message. A list of my betrayals. I didn't sit next to her at every meal. I didn't text her enough before the trip. I didn't take her wedding dress shopping, even though I had gone dress shopping with her first, just the two of us. But the best part? She still wanted to exchange photos before we parted ways. That was the moment I made my choice. I scrolled through every single picture. Ren had taken barely any of me, the bride. But I had taken dozens of her. Making her look like the guest of honor. So I deleted them. Every picture of her, gone. Every group photo with her in it, edited. It was as if she had never even been there. But Ren wasn't finished. Despite everything, she still showed up at my wedding. She made a grand entrance, clinging to her boyfriend, the one person still willing to put up with her. And then, she pulled one final stunt. During the reception, as guests raised their glasses to toast my marriage, Ren stood up. Uninvited. She took the microphone, a fake tremor in her voice, and pretended to be overcome with emotion. She spoke about our deep friendship. About how she had been there for me through everything. And then, she turned the speech into something else entirely. She started talking about herself. About how she had always been the one to support people. About how her own family never appreciated her. About how her boyfriend had been lost until she fixed him. Then, she looked straight at him. But you know what? I think all my hard work has finally paid off. Maybe soon, we'll have a wedding of our own. Silence. Her boyfriend's face went ghost white. The tension was unbearable. Then, without a word, he stood up. Pushed his chair back. And walked straight out of the reception. Ren's face crumbled. Panic. She scrambled after him, ignoring the fact that she had just humiliated herself in front of everyone. Her family. They didn't even follow her. In fact, I overheard her own mother mutter. God, I'm so embarrassed. She never came back inside. A week later, Ren crawled back. She sent me a long, desperate apology. A pathetic attempt at justification. She begged to meet for coffee. To talk things through. But here's the best part. She accidentally sent the message to our entire bridesmaid group chat. Within minutes. The chat exploded. Everyone was laughing. And me? I left her on read. No response. No reaction. Nothing. And just like that, Ren ceased to exist in my life.